everyone, Old School Pokemon here, back again with the Pokeflips podcast, joined by my usual co-host, KetchumAllCollectibles Dan. And today we've got a special guest joining us, the most recent LGS owner, Benji. HootHoot. How are you both doing today?
Good. Tired.
Doing well. Yeah, Benji, HootHoot, community cards. Let us know who you are. A lot of people probably familiar face, but let us know who you are, what you're doing, what big plunge you took recently. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot this episode.
Sure. I'm Benji. I'm with Community Cards. I have two partners in this venture. It's Adele and Steph, and they're two people that I met here locally at the shows, and we just kind of got along well, and randomly an opportunity came up, and they were like, hey. And I was like, hey. But honestly, it was an interesting thing because I never thought I would open an LGS, and I think for the past like 3 or 4 months, I was like on the point where I was like gonna step up a little bit and take Pokemon a little more seriously. And then there was many opportunities, I think 3 or 4 or 5, that led up to this point that kept falling through. And then finally, this one came up last, and they were just like, hey, if you're staying, this is an opportunity you could take. And I decided, you know what? If I've been like touching the waters a little bit and saying, hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I'm going to do that. And then I was like, let's just take a full dive. How bad could it be? And it's been honestly amazing. I've very much enjoyed it so far, at least.
Glad to hear that. Yeah. It's funny timing having you on, having somebody just diving into the LGS thing. I think it holds a record for like the longest teased video on my channel. I'm constantly talking about I'm going to make this video in the next week, next month. I've been talking about making a video about why I'm never going to open an LGS. I just recorded that last night. So good timing to have an LGS owner on here. I said it in my video, but like props to the people who do it. I think LGSs are like necessary parts of the hobby. I think it's a great gateway to get people interacting amongst people, kind of give them a taste for what a convention is like. It's almost like a convention that's just there all the time, right? Yeah. What are your that's a good little pivot into, you don't have to book a hotel, you don't have to book flights, I guess, unless you don't live locally to it. But like, what are your hours for the shop? Where is the shop located if people want to check you out?
So the shop is located in 9 North Main Street in Attleboro, Massachusetts. And so we actually, all 3 of us still work our full-time jobs. So we're a little double dipping here. But our hours, we start Thursdays from 4 to 8 p.m. Fridays, we open at 4 p.m. and we close at 10. Saturdays and Sundays, we open at 10 a.m. and we close at 6 p.m.
Is there any, and if this is too prying, feel free to not answer, but is there any one of the 3 that feels like they're the most loosely attached to their full time? Is there someone of you 3 that would go first if it goes well, like taking the full plunge, being open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well?
It would be me.
You're the guy.
Yeah, I was already considering it when we first started it, and I was like, if anyone looks at me wrong at work,
yeah.
I don't know. We're starting to pile up some work that I'm not willing to do, really, but I'm doing it. And they're not willing to train new people, so maybe I might just leave a little vacancy that they're going to miss a little bit.
It's huge. It's huge to have like an alternate option. I think as far as employers go, employers like employees that need them. They like people that are like paycheck to paycheck. They like people that don't really have any alternative options, like crack the whip and out of fear of losing their solvency. They need to. So if you have something, ask for that raise, be a little bit more bold at work. Maybe you can use that to get your work situation better. And then maybe you continue doing them both for years and years down the line. Or maybe this does so well, you come flying out of the gates, and maybe 6, 8, 10 weeks, you're putting in your 2-week notice. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for either or. more. To be honest, it actually does free up a lot because, especially like for example, in my job, like they recently did some like random. It was like random like no notice layoffs, and I think they did like 200 people the first go around, and it was like from every department, and they were just like no notice that day. Any people got to work and they just found out they were fired. And then I think it was last week they did a second wave of that as well. So it's like, I mean, I think I'm, for what I do and like the experience that I have at that job and how many years I've been there, I'd say it would be a little harder I think my job is safe as long as I just do my job generally, but there's always the chance as well. But because some executives, they get mad. Like that happened once where an executive got mad during something and he just like closed his eyes and just took out like 5 people in this company, and that was that, and they were like really good people.
Yeah, unfortunate. But again, it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit better when you know that you do have a fallback, you do have a secondary option. If your side hustle becomes main hustle, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But as I always do towards the outset of the video, I like to mention we're here probably for another 2 hours, maybe 2.25 hours. We all have busy nights ahead of us, weekends ahead of us. Benji mentioned that the store opens at 4 Eastern, so we'll probably try to leave by 3:30, 3:45, somewhere in there. But as long as we're here, ask your questions. Ask away. I will be starring them as we go. Let me say hi to a couple of the people, early birds in the chat. We've got Mr. Walrus, who made the thumbnail, smart, handsome, funny, and now shop owner. Seriously, F this guy. Benji's got everything going for him. We got Ponga, was an early bird here at 11 a.m. here for Benji. We got Allison Silverland here for Old School. And then
thanks,
always a bridesmaid, never a bride. 3rd, 25th, 300th choice. Fat Belly says, I guess if no one's here for Dan, I guess I'll be here for Dan.
At least someone said it,
So thank you, Fat Belly. We got Nostalgic Collectibles saying too big to be on time. But yeah, so Benji, you're going to be opening an LGS. You're going to be running any big event going on tonight. We know Journey Together's next week. Is there anything big? And why don't you go further into like Pokeflips, primarily a Pokemon channel? What things do you guys carry? What do you specialize in? What's going on tonight? What's going on next weekend? What does a release look like for you? I know that's like 20 questions in one, but
sure.
Go.
I mean, for us, we're primarily Pokemon. I'd say we're about 90% Pokemon. We carry One Piece and Magic the Gathering as well. One Piece just had a release today, so we have booster boxes for that. And then Magic had one a couple weeks back. But generally for Journey Together, we did pre-orders for Journey Together. And we actually did those. We packed out all our stuff because there was just not enough product for the amount of people who wanted it. And we're doing first sets. We just kind of drop them at MSRP. So we're just kind of we packed them all out and we're just doing packs at MSRP, and we're doing 5 per person. And then we had people sign up, and the only way to claim the packs would be to have gotten the email and then come in store and claim them. No one's going to be getting sent anything or anything like that. And we actually have pre-release next weekend, or tomorrow is pre-release day for us as well. And we sold 30 spots for that. And it's all just kind of, because we only opened March 9th, it's all kind of like jumbled into one. And it's a lot of like playing catch up and like juggling right now. But so one thing we realized from the start is that it's a lot of front end work. And once we get the systems in place and everything's moving, it should be a lot easier and people can actually relax. But right now, I think we're juggling our 40 hours a week for a regular job, and then I'd say 40 to 50 on the Pokemon side for the shop as well.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question. Are you guys? What's your guys' schedule like? Like, who do you guys all go in every day, or do you have like you go in Thursday, they go in
That's a good question, actually. So the way we have it split up is essentially the hours that we have currently. We've split it up in a way where each person only comes into the shop, technically, is only obligated to come in the shop for 18 hours a week.
Okay.
And it's split evenly. On Thursdays, because my schedule is a little wacky because I work graveyard shift and different days, I'm actually free on Thursday. So I open the shop by myself on Thursday.
Okay.
And then that kind of makes up for Sunday where I'm not in Sundays, but both of them can come in Sundays. And then on Fridays, I open the shop like 2 hours earlier. And then altogether in a 2-week bi-weekly thing, it comes out to 18 hours per person per week.
Solid. That's good. That's good.
Nice.
And then it hasn't been very long, but what would you say is weekends your busiest time, Saturday and Sunday, or Thursday, Friday pretty good for you? What's your busiest day?
We've had one full week so far.
Yeah.
And last week was busy. Yesterday would have marked the beginning of our second week, and yesterday's Thursday was more busy than Thursday and Friday last week.
Wow. Okay.
So
that's solid.
It seems like, well, the more people that come in, they're like, oh, we saw your Instagram ads. We heard about your shop. We saw the reels and everything. And they were like, we heard about it from other people. So they come and check us out. So I imagine that I think it's just going to keep growing as we keep opening, which is a good thing.
For sure.
We've actually already had a lot of repeat customers too, which is really nice to see.
That's good. That is good.
Yeah.
And you guys, I don't think there's many other card shops around you in that area. Is there?
Probably if you drive 30 minutes from us, there's one that's 20 minutes away, but it's more of a play store where it doesn't really have much singles and product. It's more of a people just go in, play, and it has an entire area with 20 computers, and it's a gaming area as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they also do big Pokemon stuff, and that one's called One Up, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And then other than that, there's 2 or 3 other ones that are 30 minutes away. But I mean,
no, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We actually had a question come in from Nostalgic Collectibles. So you covered a little bit of this. What's in your store? What percentage of your store is made up of vintage single sealed? How are your relationships with distributors being very new? They mentioned that they only got 3% of their Journey Together allocation.
So the store generally, I mean, it's got singles, slabs. We made these cases ourselves, and we'll probably have more that we make later on. But we have sealed and stuff, and we still have a lot of stuff going, and then some plushies, things like that, miscellaneous. But generally, no, that ladder has come in very clutch because we have pretty high ceilings, and me being only 7 feet, so I need to get extra high. No, but yeah, we're mostly Pokemon. We do Magic and One Piece as well. But generally that'll be significantly less than Pokemon because we'll take in singles and slabs and stuff, but generally not too many. We're a lot more selective in that sense. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're made up of. For vintage singles and sealed, I don't know we don't have too much vintage. I'd say we have probably maybe 15, 20 vintage packs. We plan to get more vintage as the store goes on, and it's kind of just whatever shows up for us in collections and stuff is kind of what we end up getting. But we do plan on doing eventually, when we do start doing live streaming or something like that, we'll probably do box breaks as well here and there, in-store ones, and just stream those as well. Yeah. So, nice. But we are I'd say it's mostly modern. I'd say vintage would probably be conservatively probably 15% of what we have, and then the rest would be modern. And then
nobody cares about that wanty garbage anymore.
In terms of sealed versus singles, I think we're overflowing right now, but that's also because we've been holding back inventory for so long. So it's kind of the feeling when you get when you first start vending at Collecticons. and you've been never vended before in your life, and you just have so much stuff from your PC. That's kind of what it feels like right now. So we haven't known like if we have enough, if we need a lot more, but obviously we're always taking in more. So we're still figuring that all out. But right now it obviously feels like we do have a lot.
Awesome.
And then relationship with distributors, I think, was the last one.
Yep.
So we took over the shop from a previous shop. So the previous shop had been open for 2.5 years. And so lucky for us, we were able to take over those accounts as well. And those accounts are in very good standing. So we got a bit more leniency in terms of like distributors and like allocation. But I mean, it's still not also like we can't just get what we want, obviously. So
yeah.
I mean, we got good enough where I think we're happy. But I mean, generally the way our business model wants to work is kind of just we want to rely as little as we can on distributors because I mean I feel like you just can't.
Yeah, exactly.
The way they work, it's feast or famine. When you can get whatever you want from distro, there's no margin to be had. And when you have margin to be made, when boxes are 200, 250, whatever, you can't get them. So
right.
I think it's good to have a relationship with them over time, and it's good to be getting an allocation when these sets come out like this. But this is not the historical norm, and at some point we will return to some semblance of normalcy.
Right.
I just don't know when. Before we started the stream, you had actually mentioned a little bit about customer acquisition. Like you just mentioned now that this store had been a thing before. So
yes.
Some amount of people must have been local to there knowing it was a thing. But you had mentioned like Instagram ads a little bit. Can you just talk a little bit about any kind of advertising you've done, what you've done to let people know, hey, we're open, come here, come hang out?
So, I mean, the initial one's obviously word of mouth and like legwork. Like we go to shows and stuff. So because we weren't really selling much of our inventory because we were holding it back, we would just have like a pack wheel and we would give away like stuff for free and then have like binders with bulk and people could just take them. And then we would like have flyers. We would tell people, hey, this is our shop, this is our grand opening and everything. And that was kind of like the foot on the ground, like just getting advertising that way. But we also did do Instagram ads and Facebook ads, and we wanted to see how effective those were. And generally, I mean, Facebook is Facebook. I mean, we have had some interaction there, so that's always good. And then Instagram is probably our biggest like converter, and that was just because a lot of people came in and were like, hey, we saw you guys from the Instagram ads and stuff. And I don't set them up. I know because we split tasks as we go. And actually one of my partners, they set it up. And apparently you can like, you can add parameters in terms of like location and interest and different things like that. And those help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you do those very honed in on like your zip code within X amount of miles, whatever.
Right. I don't know the exact ones because I've never actually set one up myself, but it's definitely like targeted towards like certain area codes and stuff like that in like our area, and we do Pokemon One Piece Magic type thing. So
yep.
And I would like to add, I shared one of your Instagram stories, so I'm part of the reason you're successful.
Yeah, it's true.
I think I shared one of them as well. So yeah, we're doing what we can to help the budding businesses take off.
I'm curious about your inventory management. I want to dive into that because that sounds interesting for even.
Here we go.
So go over what we were talking about beforehand.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, generally what we found out, like I watched so many videos, like coming into this, I was like, I need to find out everyone's opinion who's opened a card shop and like what their problems were and what like they did to solve them or different things like that. And essentially through creators and different things like that, I found out that the number one problem a lot of people had was inventory and repricing. And so we had several solutions. And then one was like, oh, maybe we can like automate it. So one idea we were gonna do was gonna be actually like digital like prices on the displays, and the digital prices would change like either live, which I was like, that's probably not going to work, or we were going to do daily. They would update and refresh from TCG Player. But that's a lot of wiring and all that. So we were just like, you know what? Let's simplify it a little bit. So it turns out Square actually has a inventory system. And so we just export our singles and stuff and are sealed from TCG Player. And then that would create the list or the inventory inside of Square. And then from there, we have, I don't know if it's integrated in. I think one of my partners actually, because one of them is a programmer. So he, I think, programmed something to make sure it worked for it and then created QR codes for everything. So we have QR codes along all of the, I can actually take one out really quick. So generally what we have is on the front, what you see is price, name, all of that. And then on the back is where we have the code where we scan it.
Mm-hmm.
And we can actually just use our phones. We have actual like card readers and the actual till, but we can actually check people out through our phones with Square. And it'll automatically take those items out of our inventory. And then ideally at the end of the year, we're able to just export that and just send that in as an easy way to track inventory and like then for taxes and everything. But it's not perfect.
They're kind of expensive. I am not one to know much about different point of sale systems and what their fees and what the pros and cons are of each at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my other partners has dealt with that, but generally I think Square was one that they liked because of the inventory system. And our fees are lower because of, I believe, with the membership, they lower your fees and then we just pay monthly and then just go from there. So far, it seems like it makes sense, but if we find any issues or we find something better, we can always like just pivot. I mean, it's not like we're contracted with Square or anything, but for right now, it works for us. So
yeah.
And then how easy is it to add new stuff into your inventory?
I mean, pretty easy. I can do it directly on Square, or what we generally do, like for example, for collections is we'll put a list together on TCG Player, and then you can just export the CSV and then import the CSV into Square, and then it has all the items there for you.
And then do you get to like on the back end, can you put in like what you paid for stuff too?
That's a great question. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's more us record keeping.
Yeah.
That would get messy because it's like if you buy a $10,000 collection and it's got 50 slabs and it's got 100 singles and it's got a couple boxes and like how you allocate each amount towards that, I don't know. Nick's got his notepad out. He's planning his LGS opening.
I like the idea of that. Even for like just live stuff, I like the idea of having some type of inventory system. Because right now it's just a mess. So I actually really like the idea, even without having a store. Something like that seems pretty solid. And then a year or two from now, I'll be able to transfer that over to my new LGS.
Yeah. Fanatics actually sent me like a barcode reader thing, and I haven't. Hopefully, nobody at Fanatics is listening right now. I may be in trouble. They sent me like a bunch of barcodes. They sent me a scanner. We sell packs. Packs do have barcodes on them, but like I just don't know what way I'm going to integrate that into. I just don't think it's going to work well with what PK Ponga and I are doing. But yeah, sorry, Benji, you were going to go on something.
No, I don't think I was.
Oh,
or at least I don't remember.
What?
Yeah,
What is your BART? Why? What do you do with it?
I haven't done anything with it. I don't know what I would do with it, but they send it out to everybody. It's like, oh, thank you for the free thing. And the box is just sitting over there. Like I I need to, maybe I'll bring it with me this weekend to PK's. And can we do anything with this? Like, I just don't know what it would be. On a live stream, you sell the thing and you put it and you number 1, number 2, number 3, boom, boom, you ship. I think adding a barcode scanner to that is going to make it more tedious, and it's like a fairly foolproof system.
Yeah.
You gotta just work with it. You gotta make them like setups in their houses that look like supermarkets.
Yeah, there we go.
The conveyor belt comes through, and
beep, beep.
and then just open the pack at the end.
There we go. I like it. And then another selfish question. How is the PokeCons the PokeCon shows going? Because on Instagram it looks like they're absolutely taking off.
So bigger every time. Every month it's a bigger show.
That's sweet. I moved at the worst time.
You definitely did.
Yeah, because now he's the guy who runs those is super nice. So I'm so glad those are doing well. But yeah,
I didn't know it was charged. It's beeping. So here's a good question from. Well, we got a couple good questions coming in from Mr. Walrus.
Oh boy,
what was the most surprising aspect of opening a shop you weren't expecting? It's early. More surprises could be coming. So maybe this answer will change in a month or a year or something.
I think, I don't know. The biggest surprise is how much paperwork was involved. I feel like, because there's so much you don't like realize and expect, and it's like you have to go to the city, ask them for a lot of permission and everything, even just like paint these walls and like do all that with whoever we're leasing the place from. Obviously getting our contract together because we are partners in this business, so we had to get that sorted, and then it was like the insurance and everything, and I don't know, there was a lot of hours put into like just making sure we did it correctly, and that was probably the biggest surprise. And like it was surprising how long it took, because it was something that I thought, oh, plug and play, I'll just look up ChatGPT, hey, how do I do this, and it would be fine. But there was definitely a lot of questions asked to a lot of different people, and like overall, like we're happy with how it all came out. Like we even did like security systems and all that stuff, and like I mean, it worked out really well, but it was definitely a lot of work, and that was more work than we were expecting. I mean, even just renovating this place, I mean, we painted, we built these cases and did a lot of these things. And that was a 3-week turnaround that we had to do it all in, because that's the only amount of time we were given. Yeah.
That's quick. That is quick.
Yeah.
And then who first found everything? Like the shop and all that. Was that you or was that them?
So it was actually
and all that.
So it was actually them. So they were Steph and Adele were originally like gonna just buy this place on their own. And I was actually leaving. I had an opportunity that I was gonna go do somewhere else. And so we just hung out, like Steph and I would go out and have beer here and there. And then we were just I randomly one day was like, hey, this opportunity might not happen randomly at a PokeCon. And then like 5 minutes later, they doubled back and were like, hey, if it doesn't work out, we're opening this shop. Would you be interested in joining us as a partner?
Okay.
And then 3 nights later, I was like, you know what? Why am I like, I keep seeing these opportunities and then they keep falling through and everything. And then I'm like, why don't I just do this and then actually finally get something done? And then like, instead of just dipping my feet in, why don't I go full head first, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mr. Walrus says, as a future forced card shop owner, when Nick opens his shop, Walrus is trying to be prepared for when that inevitability comes up.
I'd like to rephrase his statement, though. Future card shop janitor, not owner.
Oh, man.
Walrus has to be like out of frame at all times, because Nick's gonna have vendor POVs at his store. So Walrus has to hide in his little room and then only come out when they need cleaning.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a million questions I want to ask. I don't want to pry too much. I don't know how open you are to sharing more specific.
I mean, just ask it, and if it's something, I'll just be a little more general, or I'll say like, this is the most I can answer. You know.
What's the
very
code
Dan-
to your security system?
No. Yeah. What manufacturer is your security system? And let me know the model number. Let me do a little bit of Google surfing. But no, so you're doing like a partnership. Is that like an actual legal partnership? Is it like an LLC? Did you do S Corp, C Corp?
So this year we're an LLC. Next year we're probably going to switch to an S Corp, and then go from there. But it's all legally bound and everything. Like there's paperwork done and everything. All the correct stuff has been filed and everything. So
yeah,
we figured even though we're good friends and everything, no matter what, everything should be done as if we didn't know each other.
That's the way you have to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the right way to go, especially when you bring in, if you're doing something online, if there's not like all that liability and the leases, and it's a little bit different if you're just solely online. I guess I definitely do a lot of handshake type stuff, but it's with an online business. The second you bring a physical brick and mortar location into it, that gets a little bit more tough. So with an S corporation, if you guys do pivot that way, you would have to take some amount of a payroll, some amount of a salary. Presumably right now, you guys are probably just reinvesting into the business generally, I would imagine, since you all have 9 to 5.
So that's actually one of the biggest upsides, is that we decided that the first year we're taking nothing.
Yep.
So first year it's going all back into the business, and then the idea is second year. The idea for now is second year we only 50% of the profits would go to the business. 50% we just divvy up between the three of us and call it there. And if it's more or less, like if we feel like we should do more or do less, we'll kind of just figure that out as we go. We could very well decide, oh, it's doing really well, but we want to keep growing even just as fast as we are doing. So we might even just do another year of just all in. So.
Yeah. And obviously, if and when anyone, hey, I want to quit my day job, the calculus changes and you need to reevaluate. You kind of need to be very nimble and ready to adjust with the market as things come.
Yeah, I mean that's all in writing as well, in terms of like if someone did quit, and then like what we'd be doing like with ownership and all that stuff based on how much people are doing and everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very exciting times. Walrus says, looking into live streaming from the shop similar to Chloe. Are you looking into that?
Yeah, actually we have a stand. We have I think it's the same camera they use as well. So we have everything ready to go. We're just waiting to set it up. It'll probably be something that we do at least by the end of the month. But that is definitely something that we've actually had times here at the shop already within the last week where we're like, we wish we had been recording. But
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'll be really cool. And that'll give you some good content for Instagram.
Exactly. They were good, like just because we have to, as much as like I'm private, they're private, we're kind of just like, we have to open up a little more. And so we were trying to push the social media. Well, very likely once things settle down a little bit, do the YouTube, do the streaming if anyone has bandwidth for it, or we get someone to do streaming for us once everything's settled down a lot.
Yeah.
Here's the Walrus we know and love. He says, follow-up question. How do you feel about the British?
So that's a loaded question. My two partners in this endeavor are actually both British.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know if he knew that and he was memeing, or I thought it was just a general meme question.
I think he was memeing, and it just turned out to work out that way.
It's a good thing when I bring the memes up on screen, because sometimes they have a funny extra meaning, extra hit. Grimer wants to know, so will the rocket set, will Destined Rivals ignite a real boom? Has this current boom that we're in just been an appetizer all along?
I think it will redistribute where the money goes, is all it's going to happen. I think it's still the same boom. It's just that the money's going in different areas. Like you're seeing like some cards start to fall now and then other cards start to rise. I think it's just people readjusting where they're buying and where they think the next boom is going to be.
What do you think, Nick?
Oh God, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. The Japanese set's already going wild for pre-orders.
$200 sold out. Yeah.
Insanity. I do think like Journey Together is what it's close to 250, isn't it right now? 230, 250. I think 100% think Destined Rivals is going to be pushing $300 a box. It'll 100% be higher than Journey
100%.
100%.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Oh, man. Nick is throwing around the scary words.
No,
I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
It's wild.
Yeah, Journey Together is 250. The enhanced is 300.
Do you
bless this hobby?
Speaking of that, do you what I haven't been keeping up with Journey Together. What is the difference? So the enhanced comes from the Pokemon Center, and then the regular ones.
The enhanced is all the booster boxes. The non-enhanced is only the ones that come in their pre-release kits, as far as I understand.
That is correct.
Okay.
The non-enhanced is actually like a more scarce box. I don't know if it's denoted on the box or not, but people are paying more for the more common variety. It does come with the promo. It comes with a really cool looking promo. I don't have N behind me, but I have a canvas of like N, and is it N's Reshiram, I believe.
Yeah.
My son has that one in his room. I don't know how similar it looks to the canvas, but similar idea, same trainer, same Pokemon. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out over time. I think people paying an extra $50 for the more prevalent box is just silly right now. I have a couple hundred of them coming. A lot of people are going to be getting a lot of them. But we're booming.
I mean, it'd be interesting for people to pay extra for a box that just has less.
And then do we know yet? I'm assuming not. Do the Pokemon Center boxes, are they different than regular boxes?
They're supposed to be the enhanced one that comes with the box topper. If you bought them through the Pokemon Center. I don't think we know that yet, though. I don't think any of those would hit. They should start shipping sometime next week. Uh-oh. They're coming for Benji already.
Didn't know your shop was in the ghetto, Benji.
I wish. No, we're on the main street, but we're 3 minutes away from the police station, fire station, and the hospital as well.
That's
good. That's a good location there.
Definitely.
Don't mess around. The response time is low.
It's fast, I'll tell you. It's a very busy street too, even at night.
I'm interested. Nick just wants all this to end. Demand craves 250 MSRP packs. One thing that I'll find interesting. I'm obviously an evil capitalist. I let the market decide what I'm going to sell my stuff at. But all the people who are like, and I have two with me right here. I have two people selling at MSRP. I'm not projecting this to happen. Nick guaranteed it, but I'm not projecting it to happen. Imagine if, for whatever reason, we get half of what we're getting for Journey Together. We get half of it for Destined Rivals. I would expect Pokemon's printing a lot. I'm guesstimating that I'm going to get more Destined than I got of Journey Together. I think Pokemon knows that it's going to be a banger set. I think they're going to try to get more out there into the wild. But imagine, walk with me for a second.
Okay.
Nick and Benji are selling at MSRP when Prismatic is 130 ETBs. They're selling at MSRP when Journey Together is $250 booster boxes. Imagine if Team Rocket came out at 500. Would you guys still sell at MSRP?
It would depend on my allocation very much.
I think what would happen is a lot of the people who sell at MSRP would I only got 10% of what I normally did. And then they just backdoor the rest to me. They'd be like, I think some of that's already going on. Some of that is definitely already going on where people say like, hey, I sell only at MSRP, and then out the side to their favorite whatnot seller, their favorite eBay Live, Fanatics Live seller, they're just selling at 80-85% of market.
I think it's definitely, I mean, for us, it's a thing of it'll be a discussion. But I mean, there's 3 of us, so it's nice to have an odd number, to be honest. So, I mean, best thing about owning your own business is that you can decide what you want to do and you can pivot whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. I hope you are right about Destined Rivals. I hope we do get more. I'm not convinced. I think it could be a situation where we get even less.
That would be very shocking to me. But I'm just guessing. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. And it'll be very interesting to see how many people continue to sell at MSRP versus how many break for just selling at market, whatever market is.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy times. But yeah, my answer on this, yes, this has been the appetizer all along. Nick is throwing the G word around. Destined Rivals will propel us out of this universe. That's my projection.
I mean, isn't right after that? I believe the set after that is going to be the black and white set. I imagine that one might be one that starts having the new mechanic, which would be the old mechanic of Megas.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and supposedly that's not going to be Scarlet Violet block, right? Isn't that going to be starting some new block or some new mini block or something?
I'm not sure, but that would
make
sense. I mean, I imagine they're getting rid of, if they're going to start a new mechanic, I imagine they're getting rid of the Terra mechanic.
Our favorite crowns will all be gone.
Yeah.
Thank God.
and Eric Drinks Water had a comment kind of like what I was saying. When there isn't enough product for everyone, just backdoor it at market price and say you didn't get any because you're new. Like some amount of that goes on. Absolutely. Some amount. It's an interesting market. It's interesting how everybody individually decides to interact with it, whether selling at certain arbitrary price points or whatever they deem to be moral and right. But we'll come back around, whether it's 6 months, 18 months, 24 months. At some point, we'll come back around to some kind of sanity. But sanity is not present currently. I don't believe it's wild.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Here's another big comment, and I know Nick is probably excited. Benji, I'll be interested to hear your take. Lego Pokemon, anyone?
You forgot the
There you go. See,
I'm not a live streamer, so I don't know how to do it.
See, yeah, Nick, this is why you get paid the big bucks on this stream.
yeah, exactly.
What are your guys' thoughts on Lego Pokemon? Pokemon Mexico, I believe, like their Twitter or their Instagram or something, posted a video and then deleted it. But it's the internet, so people downloaded it, people reshare. Like it you can't delete something from the internet.
I am so excited. I cannot wait. I will 100% be buying it, no matter what it is, and building it. I cannot wait. It's about
building it. You're going to be building it. You're going to be touching them. You're not going to keep them in pristine condition in that sealed box forever. Or are you going to be doing both?
No. Lego is meant to be. I guess it's just me. I don't understand the like collectability of Lego, I guess, where you just keep it sealed in the box. I've never understood that. But then again, I love sealed investing for Pokemon. So
you just sound like someone talking to someone who someone regular talking to someone who collects sealed in Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I am so excited for that. I wonder why it took so long. Did I wonder if
the nanoblocks thing? I thought it was.
Well, yeah, nanoblocks and then mega blocks. What did Pokemon just have like a super long contract with them?
Yeah.
Or was it just Lego and Pokemon couldn't agree on who got what, or what the deal with that was? But
maybe there was some executive at Lego that didn't like some executive at Pokemon, and then somebody retired, and now they can do business together. I don't know what it is, but I'm happy that it's the case. It was always an abomination that like Lego, their premier building block toy on the market. Pokemon, the premier, biggest media franchise of all time. That was the collaboration that always needed to happen. And it's coming. It's coming in 2026 for the 30th anniversary, which we will engage a new thruster. We will beyond the next universe. With that,
I mean,
that's it's gonna be insane.
We have 4 windowsills here that could fit 4 really nice Pokemon Lego pieces. So
there we go.
There you
we go.
And as Nick said, I think my primary engagement with Pokemon Lego is going to be consuming. I'm gonna buy some. I'm gonna build them with my kids. I've mentioned it before many times. They're always peering over my shoulder, but like I used to ship these. I used to store at one point at my peak inventory level of Steins. I had like 400 or 500, like several hundred of them. They took up tons of space. All the different little like paint and the ceramic glaze, and I like shipping 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch rectangles. I don't want to ship Lego boxes. I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. So I don't think I'm going to engage investing. I don't think I'm going to engage trying to get wholesale Lego, selling them at retail. My engagement is going to be 95% plus just as a consumer. Maybe if there's a set, maybe I buy a couple, maybe I set one back, hide one somewhere, forget about it. But probably not going to do a whole lot of that because Pokemon is just way more attractive from a value density, from a ease of transaction, except for maybe graded ones. That sounds insane though. Graded, someone AFA maybe Action Figure Authority. I think they might grade.
Oh yeah.
They might grade and encapsulate Lego sets, but that just sounds miserable. Like the amount of space that it takes for one Lego set, I could have 1,000 singles or like 50 slabs or something.
Yeah, especially if they do one of the like you know how they have like the Harry Potter box and everything, then that thing's massive. I mean,
oh yeah.
To be fair,
what would be the ideal Lego set? For me, I want a Squirtle like the Bowser, the giant Bowser Lego set. I'd love a Squirtle.
What about like your Titanic? Get a big SSN.
Ooh.
I
figured if they did a big like town, they'd just probably do like a pallet town or something.
Yeah, it would be cool. Like they have I forget what they're called, like the series of them, but those more geared towards like adults, the really big sets, the big buildings have just an entire series where it's Ash's house, it's Oak's house, it's the lab, like all those individually. That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I still have over my son has from Christmas, it's over 1,000 pieces of the nano block, mega block, whatever it is. We'll have to build that sometime soon. And I'm going to be like kind of miserable the whole time I'm doing it because I'm just thinking like, oh man, what an abomination this is. But in the back of my mind, it's going to be like, this is the last one. Get through it, Dan. This is the last one. And then the next one that you build is going to be proper Lego. Legos. It's going to be what it always should have been.
If it's nanoblocks, Dan, I'm going to be honest, you can't build them. You're going to watch your son build them.
I don't think it's nanoblock.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's
nanoblocks are tiny. Like I have so much trouble with those. Like I built one and I never built another one again because they're too small.
They are not enjoyable. They are not enjoyable at all.
I think this one's mega blocks, so I think it's at least like normal size. But I did build a couple nano blocks too, and I remember they were. I remember them being quite a hassle with my hands. And my son, the way that he is right now, he'll be into it. My son will be excited. We open the box, we do the bags, and he's there with me for 5 or 10 minutes. And then it ends up being like the dogs and the cats are walking through all the pieces on the ground. It's like, we have to finish this. We can't just leave it here. We'll never come back to it. So he spends 5 or 10 minutes helping me, and then he's off doing something else, and I'm just finishing the project. But maybe in a year, though, with Lego, maybe by then he'll have more attention span and he'll actually be able to focus on them long enough to do the bigger ones. We'll see, though. CGC might not, but AFA, there are companies out there already that grade Lego boxes, and it would surprise me if more start doing it in the future.
Retrospect's got a good one.
I
Pokemon
just thought
Stadium
that'd
Lego.
be sweet.
That would be so good.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, that would be nuts. The amount of things that Pokemon has in their back pocket that they could do that will just make us empty our wallets again and again is
Dude, build a Pokemon Stadium one and just have platforms where you can they have the separate Pokemon. You can just put the Pokemon on the platforms, different poses.
yeah.
Oh,
There's endless ways to extract our dollars from our wallets, and I'm sure they're gonna act on a lot of them. Walrus misses Mega Blocks already. Oh man. Back to your store. I had missed this one. Any community nights, events in your store, etc.
so right now, what we just have Friday Night Magic. We're gonna have Saturday Pokemon, and then we'll do leagues, cups, and then we'll probably experiment with some other kind of game, like other variations of tournament styles that people want to do. And then Sundays we have One Piece nights, but we are thinking of doing like trade nights. We might have some other private events here where it's like invite only events for people as well to hang out. And I mean, there's a lot of ideas for that. It's kind of just a thing of we have to get to the point where every day is a lot easier to actually like there's not so much to do. At least a little bit, but like the store needs to be like at a point where we feel comfortable, like, all right, now we can do something new. For right now, though, we kind of just want to make sure the store is as good as we can get it for just like the regular day to day.
I've got to be the one to ask it. Are you gonna carry? Are you gonna carry this?
So at one point I asked, and at the point when I asked and I had bandwidth and time for it, I was told no one knew, and at the time there was no distributors. And then I found out that there was like one other one that they were like hinting that we had to like message, and I didn't get to that. And then is it Southern Hobby that's going to carry them?
GTS and Mad Owl have it.
So we have
GTS.io. Oh,
we have GTS. So I mean, there's been talks with my coworkers. I'm good with at least getting some and just kind of trying it out and see how it does.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably will. I mean, the other TCG that we've somewhat taken on was the Gundam TCG. So MetaZoo might be another one after that. And then if it does well, we'll increase allocation as we go. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we have anything ordered for the first set, though, which is obviously, if you think about it in any perspective, is terrible.
Yeah, that I recorded the video for tomorrow. That allocations just came through. Nick actually mentioned to me what he got from one of our distributors, and I got all of my order at one. I got a fraction of my order at the other, and that comes out on Journey Together Day. So I'm not doing like live streaming of it on release day. I'm not doing anything with it out of the gate, but I will have some down the line.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the best day, especially, I mean, we'd probably be doing the same thing because Journey Together is such a big thing for the store and just in general what we like. So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mewtwo. Kevin Clear says Mewtwo as a Lego set. That would be,
Ooh, that's another really good one.
That's an iconic, that would be an iconic set for sure.
Or they do one that's like the what's it called? Pokemon Pocket version of Mewtwo, where he's like out of it and like reaching out. So it's like you have the broken tube in the background, and then it's like Mewtwo like reaching out and all that.
There we go.
Yeah. I just pulled that one the other night on TCG Pocket. I've had a good stretch of luck the past couple of weeks on that game.
I said it was stupid, and you stopped playing it.
Then you got good stuff.
It's a chore. Like, it's definitely just a daily chore, but that dopamine hits when you pull one of those cards and you get you go into the card and you see all the different angles. It's like they definitely do get the dopamine going. So they kind of have me. I don't play the game. I go in, I open the packs, I do my wonder pick, and that's it.
But I mean, you gotta keep opening packs. What if one day they do, well, because you played the game, here's one code to be able to redeem any one card from the TCG
That'd be
Pocket
cool.
game.
Yeah,
And then you have to mail it in and they mail back the card.
that would be awesome. I probably hit it 4 or 5 days out of the week. I definitely don't do it every day, but 4 or 5 days out of the week, I probably remember to go in and actually do it. For whatever reason, my phone doesn't give me push notifications. I looked at my settings. The app isn't muted or anything, but like Pokemon Go sends me push notifications, eBay, all apps send me push notifications, but with that app, they're like broken. They just don't work.
I don't think I get any either. I mean,
Like when it says your pack stamina has replenished, you can open a pack now. When I click to open the app, I get a push notification as I'm opening the app. They don't come through when the app's closed though. It's weird. It's really weird.
I don't know. Most people would be happy they're not getting a million push notifications from an app, but I guess Dan's the kind of guy who wants a million.
He always clicks allow.
He wants
Every app.
all the
ones that I don't
newsletters,
want-
everything.
all the ones that I don't want push notifications, I just mute them, right? Like if you don't want them, you mute them. But the one of the few apps that I want to be notified, like I wouldn't mind being notified once a day, like, hey, open some packs, and then I'll get in there and I'll get my dopamine hit. But they just don't work on that app. It's weird.
Dan, what's your email? I think there's some insurance agencies where I'd like to insert that.
I'm almost caught up with the backlog of questions that we had. So as always, feel free to ask your questions. We're going to be here for another hour and a half ish, but I do have one from Fat Belly. If the Pokemon market is tied to crypto and stocks, will Pokemon fall like the other markets, or will Pokemon show its own market?
That's
I'm just pulling up. I'm pulling up S&P 500. I'm pulling up. So Bitcoin is down to 84, and the S&P 500 is down to 5,600. It's actually down 6% over the last month. Year to date, it's down 4%. I think Pokemon is loosely tied to the broader markets. I don't. It's not 1-to-1. It's not a direct correlation, but I promise you, if crypto goes down 40%, if the S&P 500 goes down 40%, which would mean we're going into like a deep recession, pretty bad, high level. If that happens, Pokemon will go down to some extent. Will it be 1-to-1? Probably not. I don't know exactly what amount it will affect it, but so that's kind of like a long rambly answer that kind of non-answers, but it'll be loosely correlated. It'll likely head roughly in the same direction as it has over the past several months, but it could, if the S&P 500 has a 10% down year, Pokemon could have a plus 30, plus 40% year in a year that the S&P 500 is down 10%. I really think.
I pretty much agree with you on that. I think even like in if we do go into like a major recession, I don't think Pokemon will crash because people will still want enjoyment. So I think there still will be pricing will come down for sure, but I don't think we'll see a major crash. Who knows though?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with Nick on that one because a lot of people, I mean, even if their amount of disposable income goes down, I mean, for a lot of people, it's their escape, and that's like the thing where like, oh, I'm just gonna buy a pack. Like instead of buying a booster box, I'm gonna buy a pack. You know what I mean?
So maybe not, but potentially a little bit. Kind of
a lot of non-answers.
Yeah.
I know Kai Jai Kai. He asked me about the if I retired the Bubble Mew play. The Bubble Mews are gone. The last Bubble Mew sold last week. So
did I miss that question?
Yeah, that was like at 2:03 p.m. But I mean, that was just something I got very lucky on. It was not really like something that I expected to go up in value at all. So it just kind of worked out for me.
You originally just bought those cards because you liked them.
Yeah, I really like Bubble Mew, and I was like, these things even like, well, the way I saw it was when I was buying them, I was buying a lot of the Japanese and English, and the way I saw it was even if like I got PSA 9s, I would still make money on them based on like if I would buy them. So I was like, why wouldn't I just buy them and grade them? And I looked on like Graded Edge and stuff, and it was showing wrong data for that. So I was like, I feel like this is something that not a lot, and every Collecticon, people would buy a Bubble Mew and they would never haggle ever. Mm-hmm. And this was like 4 Collecticons in a row, and I'm like, why wouldn't I just buy a bunch of these? And then when I sent them for grading, then like 2 weeks later, the prices skyrocketed. So it just right place, right time, not like planned or anything, but definitely was a great feeling to know that I had, I think at one point I had like 86 or 87 of them.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely did well on those. Definitely did well on those.
The Experience Share says, good Lord, the amount of times that question has been asked. Pokemon isn't crashing anytime soon. Look at the upcoming sets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot of how it can't possibly go down. We have to be booming for the next 18 months. There's some percent chance, blah, blah, blah. No one wants to hear it. I understand. But Pokemon booming like crazy, and all anyone wants to talk about how a crash is imminent. I promise you, this channel, this like little area of the market that we're in, this is not the norm. If you go into most general places, you do hear about MSRP, you hear about scalping, you hear about this, that, but the amount of more mainstream investing channels, and all I hear is it can only go up. Like, we are giving some nuance, we're giving some, hey, there's potential risk, or at least I am. I promise you, you're going into you're going into Gillette Stadium and saying, why is everyone here a Patriots fan? Like, don't they know there's 32 teams in the league? So you're coming into an area where we talk about like more of those kinds of things. That is not the norm, though. I promise you, our channel, 69 viewers, 1,000-something subscribers. There are much larger channels. There are much larger channels where there's not a barren site. There's not any room for nuance. There's only rocket emojis allowed. There's only every box is going to go up forever guaranteed. So that is more the norm. At least that's my vibe. That's my feel. What do you guys think on that? Do you think what we're saying is the more mainstream, like, hey guys, be careful, things might go down? Or do you think it's more mainstream that just like rocket emojis, it can only go up?
Rocket definitely feels like the more mainstream, but I'm definitely in the camp of be cautious, and yeah, it's just don't over leverage, and yeah, I don't know, similar to casinos, like don't play with money you're not willing to lose, I guess. That's kind of how I go with it.
Yeah, it does. Maybe it's just what I've been watching lately, but it does seem like more people are pushing caution a little bit more than before. But yeah, no, I think like overall PokeTubers, it would definitely be the rocket emoji type things. But way to bring me down, Dan, saying we're not mainstream and nobody watches us. Why don't we just end here? Last episode of Pokeflips.
Yeah,
we are.
I thought everything we said here would be what everyone else thinks. I mean,
we're coming up on 4 years. I forget when it is exactly, but it's like it's late March. I think between now and our next episode, we will hit, like, I think season 5 is season 5, episode 1 is our next episode, I believe.
So you guys gonna do a live one together?
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll do. We kind of had to start this year. Walrus was picking on us because like we didn't have a guest 3 or 4 episodes in a row. We couldn't find anyone that wanted to come on, and now we've had, I think, 3 guests in a row. I don't know if it's gonna be just us, or I don't know. I think we actually have a guest lined up for the next one again. So yeah, we're doing like several in a row now with guests.
Well, who's flying to whose house for the anniversary then?
I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say mine has the Turning Stone right near me, but I think Nick has a casino pretty close to him too.
No, I'll give you the Turning Stone. The casino's out here. Yeah. I got spoiled with Boston. Nothing will beat the Encore. That is such a nice casino.
Nick would go to a card show, and the casino's like 40 minutes away, and he's like, "Well, I'm like 10 minutes out from my house. I might as well go to the casino now."
The experience share says, I'm not even necessarily talking about you guys. Every day on YouTube, I see like 5 new thumbnails about how Pokemon is crashing immediately. Is Journey Together going to crash the market? There's definitely like you need divisive things. You need all red, all green. You need like we're all going to get rich together or we're all going to go broke together. You need something very that's just inherent to human psyche. People are more likely to click on something that is negative. I think there's a lot of studies out there. There's a lot of, I mean, go to some mainstream media website, and a lot of times it's very sensationalized things. And then you read the article. It's like the title, the little caption they give, and then you read the article, and it's like, oh, that's not nearly as exciting as it sounded off the title. But that's just that's the way that the TikTok brain, all that stuff feeds off of.
Clickbait gets views.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Here's a really good question. Eric Drinks Water wants to know. So here's the real question. Do you retire your own personal eBay? How do you separate plays for the shop versus plays of your own? Anything taken in at the shop is sold there?
Ooh, that's a good one.
So we decided that there is no the shop and you. It's literally just the shop. I don't sell, like, essentially what we've loosely decided was kind of just that it's all going to the shop. If you do, technically we do still have our own that we could do, and that would, the only case that would work is like if some collection or something comes in, shop always gets first dibs no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But if the shop passes and then someone's like, I kind of still want to do this, they can figure that out on their own time. They get second dibs on that, but generally the shop will always come first. Is kind of where we're at with that.
That's a good way.
That makes
sense. Way to
sense.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That way there's no conflict of interest or anything like that. So.
And how do you do like say a really big collection comes in and say that there's a fair bit of risk there? I guess here's a good one. It's always got to show up at some point. Like I bought these at 110% of market. Say that this came into your shop and say that either one or two of the three of the owners were like, hey, this is really worth the risk for the shop. And then either one or two of you guys were like, no, this is too much. Our cash flow, our liquidity, Journey Together comes out next week. We can't really go for it. Do you guys have some kind of is it 2 out of 3 democratic vote type thing? Or are there certain thresholds that you're allowed to spend? And you don't have to share the exact numbers, but you can spend 500 without telling anybody. Above 5,000, you need to talk. Like, how's all that work?
I mean, generally we trust each other to like do the right thing for the shop. I mean, we like after like, I don't know, even just like, I mean, collections like 2,000 plus or something. We're still like messaging each other like, hey, I'm gonna grab this, and then we just let each other know like what we're buying it for. But it's not really asking permission. It's more just letting other people know, so we know what our cash flow situation is. Because we don't want 2 people to set up 2 different big collection buys, and then suddenly we don't like someone. There's no money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
Realistically, something like that. If it was something like those Greyfell that had Pikachu's, I think that one would probably come down. That one we'd probably move up to 3. Like it would have to be like unanimous, because that is like insane risk. If you think, well, it's not insane, but it's like a lot of times that's way more risk than you actually need to, considering there's so many other plays out there with so much less risk. And at the time when that came out, it would have been similar results in terms of like what you get out of it. So I don't know, something like that would probably be a unanimous, like all of us would have to collectively agree, but generally it's a 2 out of 3 system.
That's solid.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's level-headed enough that here, so like we know, like we've already had times where like everyone can admit when they're wrong, and then like we can talk through things pretty easily. Like there's never been any like big issues yet, at least for the shop or anything. We've pretty much agreed, or like if there was any like issue with like, oh, we should get this or not, it was kind of just we could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Walrus says YT collection comes in. Benji says, yuck, let's all pass, but let's talk outside. That's funny. Let's see. Spat says $1.99 super chat. Can you make sure this money gets to Benji, please? Well, it all goes to Nick. This is under his name, so I don't see any of it. So Nick, you make sure that gets to Benji.
I'll write you an IOU note.
All right, perfect.
We've also got Java gifting 10 memberships. Appreciate you, Java, as always.
Thank you, Java. I do appreciate it.
Got those two. We always appreciate the super chats and the gifted memberships. I've got like a mouse that has a bunch of buttons on it. I accidentally clicked the back button, and that's why I hopped out of the stream for a second. I don't know if you guys even noticed if you weren't looking at your screen or not.
Oh yeah, we
I'm
know.
wondering why you disappeared. I thought you were bored.
You were having a lot better time.
As soon as you asked the question, you just disappeared.
Java says, please make sure 0 of mine goes to Benji. So none of it for Benji.
Hey, listen, Java. All I'm saying is, remember what month's coming up, and remember what you asked for. So that's all I'm saying. You know, it's starting to look like April's not. I'm busy that month. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to ask, has Java revealed what April is, or?
I think so, but if not, I'm not going to say anything.
I don't think he has. But maybe not. I don't know.
Well, I'm excited for that. I'm very excited for that. I hope that goes over well.
April's a good month.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see. I think I have all those. So Fat Belly says about 15% of Americans are in crypto. That's a higher percentage than I would have guessed. That shocks me if it's that high. What percent? I'm assuming he meant what percent would each of you guess are in Pokemon? So 15% of Americans approximately are in crypto. And I guess with Robinhood and things like that, it makes it a lot easier. What percent of Americans do you think are into Pokemon? As in, like, let's define that. In the past 12 months, they've bought a lot on eBay, or they've bought a pack at Walmart, or like any Pokemon engagement. What percentage would you guys think?
Buying Pokemon?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say if 15% of people are into crypto, I'm gonna say at least double are into Pokemon.
45? 40? 45?
No, 30%. 30%.
30?
I don't
30?
know a single aside from you, Dan. I don't know a single other person who does crypto.
Oh, who does crypto and
so
Pokemon?
Many people that do Pokemon.
Because you're into Pokemon, though. Like, I don't know many people in my real life that are into Pokemon. I was gonna guess 5 to 10%. I was gonna say 5%. You think more
people are into crypto than Pokemon? No way.
No.
Crypto's a $2 trillion market cap industry. I mean, Bitcoin alone is almost $2 trillion market cap. I think with Robinhood, with the ubiquitous nature of now there's crypto ETFs and stuff. I think Pokemon is 5 to 10%, which is like, that's bullish, right? If we got that much room to grow.
I don't know about that. I think with crypto you have these billionaires that are investing in crypto.
Yeah, but this is talking, like, this is counting your grandparents. This is counting your parents. This is counting everyone. Like, that's why I'm shocked.
The amount of kids that'll buy packs at Walmart's. Well, used to. Now they can't.
30-40%. That's 1 out of 3 people. I can think of hundreds of people, like family, friends, old coworkers. I only know a small, and maybe some of them are like closet Pokemon enjoyers that don't talk about it publicly. There's no way it's 30%. It can't be that.
It's
high.
Probably 18 then.
It's probably 5.
There's no shot. There's more people involved in crypto. Absolutely not.
I know,
and we're saying this is accurate. The 15%.
15% seems high. I did a quick Google, and AI overview says roughly 17% of U.S. adults. So that is adults. That's a subset. That's not counting all kids and stuff. Feels high to me, but to say 30%, like I don't think Pokemon has penetrated the market that thoroughly. That's insane. That would be scary if Pokemon were only booming this much with 30% of its potential consumer base in it. I would be way more bearish. I would be like, oh damn, we've peaked. I'm saying 5%. Let me know, people in the chat. Give us numbers. I see a couple people talking about it, but nobody. Give me a percentage. Your answer to this one. I'm sticking with 5. I'm not even gonna go 5 to 10. I'm gonna stick with
no shot.
1 out of 20 adults. I know hundreds of adults.
I don't know. We gotta find the accurate number to this crypto.
So I graduated with 89 kids, and it's not like I know every person that I went to high school with anymore. Mm-hmm. But one guy that I know is into Pokemon. That's a terrible sample size. Like this is just a horrible metric to go off of. But I used to
I don't know, you only have 89 people to go off of. I mean, you guys probably all did the exact same thing. So
anything above 10% is just wild to me, and I can't wrap my mind around it. And it makes me feel like, oh damn, we don't have as much upside as I potentially think we could. But people are going to define it differently. I defined it as having engaged with Pokemon, buying it in the past 12 months. Buying 1 pack would count you towards that. And even with that like loose definition applied, I'm saying it's only 5% of adults. But I could be entirely wrong. Mega Evo is saying 15%.
Oh, you can't just say adults. That's cheating.
I'm not talking.
You're changing your parameters.
Well, the number that we had on crypto is with respect to adults. So I just want to do apples to apples, right? I want to do apples to apples. 10 out of 100 Americans into Pokemon feels wild. Yeah, I don't know how people could think. You're in it. We're in it. Like, obviously, I know tons of people into Pokemon in my Pokemon Discords that follow my Pokemon channel. Yes, obviously. But go to a random bar. I just booked. I booked tickets to a Rangers game. If I randomly polled, and I'm not going to do this, obviously, if I polled the 20,000 people in Madison Square Garden, there's not going to be 2,000 people that are into buying Pokemon, that have Pokemon Go, that have TCG Pocket. Like I think it's going to be 1,000 people tops.
But you think there's going to be you think there's going to be, what is that, 2 times more people that are into crypto than Pokemon?
The number into crypto feels high. No, I would have guessed maybe 10% for that. But I think crypto is more ubiquitous. I think crypto is more ubiquitous than Pokemon.
Interesting.
No, I think so. You think there's more people in crypto than Pokemon? Whatever the percentage is.
And it's a guess. Like I was hearing about crypto before I was I knew of Bitcoin's existence before I got back into Pokemon. I got into crypto before I got back into Pokemon. My personal anecdote.
I feel like there would be more people into Pokemon than crypto, just because there is an avenue where you can be into Pokemon for free, whereas crypto, there's just no way to participate in crypto that is free.
Java's doing some Google Trends. I'm gonna do some right now. So he says Pokemon is way higher than like crypto, which that's an interesting comparison to make. I don't think often enough to use.
I didn't even think of that. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's way higher. The amount of Google searches for Pokemon are way higher than crypto. Would you say
it's double?
I truly think it is. I don't know. I'm open to being wrong. I'm not like dying on this hill.
I'm right. Suck it, everyone.
No, Nick, what you don't understand is the majority of the population doesn't use Google searches anymore.
We're back to Ask Jeeves.
It's actually Ask ChatGPT.
That is true. That is true. Oh.
And no Walrus, I am not doing Chicago Collecticon.
Oh yeah, I had started that. What Collecticons, if any, are you doing? And are you doing them as HootHoot or are you doing them as community cards?
HootHoot is dead.
Uh-oh.
As in HootHoot TCG no longer really is going to be its own entity. Generally anything I do for Pokemon at this point is going to always be as community cards. Unless there's like some collection or something that I do, it would probably be, generally I don't even think I would sell that myself. I would probably send that to Nick, send that to Dan, send it to James, and kind of do it that way. I imagine there wouldn't be a case where I would just be out there with a table vending as HootHoot TCG anymore. And as for what Collecticons I'd be doing this year, so far locked in, I have Charlotte, both New Jerseys, and both card parties. And then the second Chicago is the only other one that's a maybe right now. And those would all be as community cards.
Nice.
That makes sense. That'll be solid though. That's a good amount of shows.
I'll see you at Charlotte and then probably Card Party Seattle at least, so that's good.
Well, what is this probably? I already bought my ticket because you were going.
You're going to Card Party Seattle too?
Yeah.
Well, if Nick's going, I definitely can't go anymore. So
sorry. Okay.
No, I fully intend on making it, like barring something coming up. Like it's as sure as it can be. And we got some more numbers coming in on the Pokemon versus crypto debate. Over 400 million active crypto wallets with a balance worldwide as of May last year. I probably have 5 though. So like I don't know what the number would be, but I feel like the average crypto holder probably has anywhere between 2 and 10 wallets. Like the average is probably more than 2 or 3. I probably have 5 that I can think of. I have a MetaMask one with some of my like old MetaZoo NFTs. I have my hardware wallet. I have a Coinbase thing. Like I don't know though.
Another good one that was brought up is, are we talking Pokemon in general or are we talking just Pokemon cards?
This is, more nuance, more like bringing up what I was talking about. Me personally, I was talking about buying, like I defined it, buying a Pokemon card, opening a pack, engaging with the cards only. So when you do a Pokemon Google search term, you're picking up people playing Pokemon Go that have never bought a card. You're picking up people playing Pokemon Pocket. You're picking up people that play the video games. Like the video games sell massively, tens of millions of copies every time a new block comes out, every time a new game comes out. I'm not talking about knowing about Pokemon. Like if you're talking that, if you're adding the video games, you're adding everything. If you're saying like what percent of American adults can identify Pikachu, now I'm on board with maybe 30%. But I'm talking about engaging with 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch rectangles specifically. That's what I was talking about with the 5%. But again, I'm not dying on that hill. I'm open to being wrong.
I mean, I was in just Pokemon in general, to be honest.
Yeah, if you're talking Pokemon in general, then I'm more like, okay, 20, 30% potentially. I'm more on board with that. So we got to make sure we're like speaking the same language, right? We're talking apples and oranges. Definitely not 99.9% can identify Pikachu. That's only 1 out of 1,000 not being. I feel like I probably know 10 people in my personal life that would. But my grandpa, I actually, spoilers a little bit for my video that comes out tomorrow. I was ripping MetaZoo packs with my dad and my grandpa the other day when I delivered some to my dad's storage. And
why do you hate your dad and grandpa so much?
My grandpa knows Bigfoot. My grandpa knows. My grandpa does not know Pikachu. My grandpa would be like, "Oh, that's one of them Pokemans that you do for work, isn't it?" But my grandpa would not know Pikachu, and I it's high, but it's not 99.9%. But yeah, it's a fun thing to think about, and the lower the number is, if the number is 5%, if it's 3%, that's
good
better. That's better. That means we have that much room to grow, right? Yeah. If the number's 30, 40%, it's like, dang, we can only double. Like I want to more than double. I want to 10x our market penetration. I don't want to just double it. But
I just read Walrus' comment.
Please, no. Wait until my video tomorrow. Dozens of people will watch my video tomorrow and find out. I may have went back for more. I may have went back and ordered more Metazoo than I originally had.
Dan has his dad buying an entire pallet just of the first set of Metazoo.
And Retro's got a good point. There are meme coins with a higher market cap than the entire Pokemon company worldwide. Like, there may or may not be a sitting president of the economic powerhouse of the world that has his own meme coin that has a market cap of, let me get a live time on that. Oh no, where'd it go? Is it tanking? Is it a rug pull? Where'd it go?
It's been tanking for weeks.
I know.
Now, I feel like.
I hope nobody bought it, but there's a market cap on that of.
I feel like
it's only $2 billion, but at one point I think it was like $100 billion or something.
It's been dropping, like it's been having like 20% drops, 40% drops. Like,
yeah. Oh man. Let's see. Thank you, Grimer, or not Grimer. Thank you. I was reading Grimer's comment as I said that. Thank you, Fat Belly, for the engaging comment. They got us all riled up and talking about Walrus has got his Hawk to a coin. He's set for life.
Honestly, if anyone I know in the Pokemon space would buy some, I think it'd be Walrus.
I can see it.
But only Hawk-Tuah, not any of those other, like, those other scam ones, like Bitcoin, He'd get more of the legit ones. Like
he only goes for real investments. Yeah. ICYI. What's that acronym? In case you...
I have no idea.
In case you missed it, maybe there was supposed to be an M in there. There were 500,000 people in line for Prismatic SPC on Pokemon Center yesterday. So that's a solid floor. That's insane. Do we know that? How do we know that? 500,000 people in line. Would that, like, I don't know how bots work. I am a robot, but I don't know how other ones work exactly. Would a bot not show up as multiple instances? Would people not be going through multiple different their browser, different tabs, their mobile device?
Yes, those would all be their own devices.
Yeah,
so I would imagine so.
That's interesting, though. It is wild. It is wild to think how big of a market we are in right now. Can people stop trying to equate Pokemon to crypto? It's so cringe. I think it's fair and I always bring up this example, but when you're allowed to compare things even if they aren't identical. I think some people interact with Pokemon in a way that they almost treat it like a meme coin. I'm not saying Pokemon is a meme coin, but some people interact similarly with it, and some people have expectations similar with it. One thing I got like flack on for some amount of time, I was calling Vivid Volt or Surging Sparks. Like I was comparing it to Vivid Voltage. And I wasn't saying facetiously, I was saying it could be Vivid Voltage 2.0. Some people were like, oh, they're entirely different sets. You can't compare that. You can compare anything you want to compare. Like Venn diagrams, there's certain things that are overlap. There are certain things that are unique to each. I don't know why people aren't allowed to just, hey, this has some amount of analogous things. This has some amount of similarities. Let's talk, compare and contrast. What's the same? What's different? I don't know. Kids out here wheeling meme coins more than Pokemon. You'd be surprised. Kids coming up to you trying to do a trade up challenge, trying to pay for your slabs in like Shiba Inu coin and Dogecoin, and
if it's not Hawk-Tuah, I'm not taking it because at least I know I can sell it to Walrus.
Let's see. Again, feel free to keep the questions flowing. We're going to be here for another 45 minutes ish. If people have any, people got to get out of their echo chambers. There's a whole world out there. Definitely not even that it has to be echo chambers, but people, myself included, they get very honed in on like, this is the Discord that I go and I engage with. This is the YouTube I go and I engage with. And people try to project that on the whole world. It's very easy to go throughout your day, go throughout your week, go throughout your month, not realizing that there's billions of other people on this planet with entirely different lives that live in entirely different realities. Essentially, they get different news, they get different, and if you don't ever step out of your personal bubble, if you don't step out of like the same things you always engage in, you can get very skewed opinions on what percent of people have certain thoughts. And this comes with certain things along the lines of like CGC, BGS, PSA, that kind of tribalism. This also goes into like political type things. People getting really like, oh, I live in this county, very red county, very blue county. Everyone I know, this is the only common sense way to think. Like, no, everyone has different experiences. Everyone like experiences the world in different ways and has different things they go through in life that lead to very, very different takes on the world. But let's see. I got that one. Yeah, I have nothing starred anymore right now.
I think Basic had a few points.
Most people don't research when putting money into Tesla or Amazon. They just have the confidence based on financial market sentiment. They don't need experts. They've been told to invest, so they do. And then he also says most households today would put 1K in meme coins and would never do so for Pokemon.
Yeah, but we're not talking people investing. It's anyone who's bought cards. I would say the vast majority of people in Pokemon aren't investing. They're doing it for enjoyment.
And I agree there too. Like most people are just consuming. Most people are just buying a pack here or there, consuming, opening, whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are talking past each other. A lot of us are talking about like different. I did my best to define it in a certain way, but I think that's already been lost. Here's a question from Nico about the store. I might have missed this, but how are you handling product shortage at the shop?
I'd say for product shortage, it's a thing of we haven't hit that yet because we're so new and because we've held back so much product. And that's mostly just because I was vending before and so were they, and we just combined inventories. And so for right now, I mean, we've been buying a lot of collections. So right now we're good in terms of product, but maybe in a couple months we won't be singing the same song. So for right now we're good, but it's too early to tell how we'll do with that.
But are you? I know it hasn't been long, but are you getting a lot? Is it more people coming into the shop selling you collections, or is it more you still looking on like Facebook, Instagram, and all that? Finding.
We're not actively looking for any collections. It's generally people messaging us or people we know from our networks already that we're talking to. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the collection I picked up today was one from someone that I've known for years in the hobby. And yeah, they just were selling and I grabbed all I could.
Nice. There we go.
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But for right now, I mean, we've been getting a lot of people coming into the store generally. And other times we'll have like a lot of big collections that most of the time people come in the store, but that one I just went and met halfway with the other guy, so it worked out as well. But for now, we're doing really well in terms of like inventory and acquisition and stuff. So hopefully that continues as well.
Sweet. You had mentioned that you're going to sell your Journey Together kind of limited, allocated, whatever at MSRP. Once that runs out, would you buy it? Like say someone came in with, hey, I have 4 cases of Journey Together. Would you buy it at some percent of market and then sell it based off some percent of market? Or do you just have a policy like, hey, if a set's new, we're never gonna scalp it. We're never gonna sell it over MSRP.
No, we'll buy it.
And you have distro, like your distro might reach out to you and offer, hey, do you want Journey Together at 180 a box? You'll buy that, then you'll sell for whatever market is. So
for now, it's a little easy because we have so many shows. So we have a show weekend pretty much if we want. So a lot of times what our plan is for now, what we've been doing is kind of just anything we do, we get secondary and stuff we sell at the shows and that we shut the market. And generally we kind of try and keep it away from the in-store. But likely that could change as we go and people are like, we don't care, we just want to buy it. Then we'll figure it out from there. But for now, it's like we'll do shows and then that's where we'll put the stuff that we buy secondary.
We got some more numbers coming in. So Retro says 1.9 billion was Pokemon's total gross for 2024. TCG is like 20% of that, not even a blip on the radar compared to crypto daily volume.
My thing with that though is you have institutions, you have millionaires, you have billionaires investing in crypto. These people aren't buying Pokemon cards. Kevin O'Leary is not buying Pokemon cards, but he is big into crypto. Mark Cuban, not buying Pokemon cards, into crypto. So obviously crypto has a much higher market cap. You're not having your 8-year-olds buying crypto, or you're not having the 8-year-olds are not millionaires buying crypto. They're buying one pack. So yes, there's a lot more money in crypto, but the total amount of people is a lot less.
See all the upside we have in Pokemon? Kevin O'Leary's not buying yet. Once we get on Shark Tank, once I pitch him the whole KetchumAllCollectibles pallet investment business, once I show him that it outperforms his measly S&P 500, then that is when we fuel up the rockets. Oh man, upside. I love to hear the word upside. Retro said his brain hurts. He's done. He's tapping out of the conversation.
Oh, no.
You know you're wrong, Retro. I got you on that one.
Here's one. An interesting follow-up. There has been some development. So neither of you owned any prototype cards, did you? The Alpha, Beta, Omega, Delta, Epsilon, whatever. I've heard, per that E4 thread, people are getting emails definitively stating like, hey, your card was deemed inauthentic. I've not heard of any payouts personally yet, but I haven't checked on that E4 thread in a couple days. But as of today, as of a couple days ago, CGC basically said, hey, we have verified that these cards are inauthentic. Some people still haven't gotten that email yet. Presumably, it's going to take them some amount of time. I think there were a few thousand cards affected. Maybe some end up being real, and some are definitely ending up being fake. And what they said in the email was like, we are interfacing with our insurance company. We'll keep you in the loop on like developments with that. So I have no idea of a timetable. I've not heard of anyone being actually paid out yet, but there was an update in that people were told like, hey, we'll get back to you. Your card is fake. We're going to work on payouts next. So it's obviously kind of a big thing. For a week, it was like the biggest thing in Pokemon. But the way that the news cycle goes, the way the hype cycle goes, that was like 6 news cycles ago. And it's interesting to get a little update, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to keep hearing about those updates. That's one of the ones where I'm like, I've no stake in the game or anything, but it's one of the more unfortunate and interesting things that recently has happened in the hobby, I think. So I definitely like to keep up to date on that as much as possible. But with the shop, I haven't been able to read the E4 forums. So
yeah, and even though none of us are directly affected, I presume, Benji, that you've had like a CGC slab before, right? We're all indirectly affected to some extent.
True.
Like if one of the big 3 grading card companies has a massive scandal, if they end up going bankrupt because of it, it affects us all to some extent. So it is interesting to at least stay somewhat up to date with what's going on with that.
I actually have heard like a customer here and there will say some comment about CGC in that respect, actually, and be like, well, they graded all these things. And then I've heard some random comments where I've heard people say, this one was probably more online than anything, where people are like, the top 3 grading companies are BGS, PSA, and Tag.
Yeah.
I'm personally not on that train, but I mean, sure. I honestly could care less. Whichever one people will pay for, that's what I'll use, and whichever one is more like constantly paid out.
Yeah, and it's perfectly fine for people to like. You can have Tag be your favorite grading card company, but
Sure.
talking about two different things. Like if you're talking the big three as far as actual market data, market sales, as far as actual cards graded every month, GemRate does the data, and Tag is like maybe someday it'll get in there, but it's way far behind as far as actual grading volume and market cap and whatever. Some people, it was Jesse saying it's Tag, lol. I don't know where that was, but yeah. Let's see. Grimer saying some crazy things here. Still wouldn't consider Pokemon an investment. It is more speculative than crypto, in his opinion. I feel like that's a pretty spicy take. I feel like that's gonna get some
super spicy.
That's gonna get some feathers ruffled.
I don't follow crypto enough, but I would say Pokemon is a much safer investment for me, at least.
That's a tough one because the way you said it too, Nick, it's like for me at least is, I mean, that's the crux of it all. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, it's something that you're obviously more. I mean, same with me. Like it's something that we know a lot more about. Like if we knew as much as we did in Pokemon, or if we knew what we knew in Pokemon and we knew that much in crypto, we'd probably be singing a different story. So
yeah,
it's like, and crypto is very easy to access from, like if someone's just doing stocks, they could just access or just happen on crypto or just buy one here and there, and just that's easy, one done. That's their interaction with crypto.
Yeah, like Robinhood has it. You don't have to go through the scary process of waiting for something to come in the mail. You just click a couple buttons and you have it. Yeah. But I own some crypto. I own a lot of Pokemon. I personally, I'm investing. I'm speculating over the 5+ year time frame, fairly long term in both crypto and Pokemon. I personally feel more bullish on my Pokemon, mostly because and I've talked about this before. When I buy Bitcoin, I buy it 100.1%, 100.01%, and I sell it 99.99%. When I buy Pokemon, I'm able to buy, like I have built-in advantages because it's a more illiquid, because it's a non-fungible market. I feel better about being in Pokemon because I'm experienced. I'm somewhat of an expert. I have the ability to transact in advantageous ways. Whereas with crypto, it's like, no, you buy and you sell for the price. And it's all, and just like Pokemon, it's kind of an amalgamation of bids and asks and stuff. But unlike Pokemon, well, getting into the deep nuance, there's a little bit of platform arbitrage. There's a little bit of arbitrage with different exchanges and Bitcoin and things like that. Very, very tiny margins you could shave off maybe if you're high frequency trading. But anyways, like in Pokemon, you can buy from hills at 90% of market. You can buy from a website that people just don't know exists. You can sell it over on this platform. You can sell it there. It's a lot easier to just make money in a flat market. Whereas with Bitcoin, whereas with stocks, you need to wait for the market to go up and then sell.
Or just be Nancy Pelosi.
Mr. Walrus doesn't like crypto because issue with crypto is you got to tell people you're rich. They can't hear the dimes jingling in your pocket and know. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I like that. Let's see. But that was a spicy comment by Grimer, and he just dropped it in there.
It's a surprising turnout for Grimer. I mean, usually he's just trolling the whole time.
Yeah. Here's a good one from Hive Mind. Do you have any plans for a day in the life of a card shop owner series? We touched on that a little bit earlier.
I mean, hopefully when things slow down, we want to do a lot of things like that. I mean, I personally, like if we do end up opening up the YouTube and doing a little more of that, I'd like to do a random just cooking with streams.
Ooh.
Or
Nice.
just videos. And I don't know, just go to like maybe drive down to New York, cook with Dan, do one with Chef, obviously, and then Nick, and then just whoever else. And I think that would be fun. I think it's nice to put a hobby in a different setting than it's usually in. And I think that kind of just changes up a little bit and something else to watch.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And the best thing is there's 3 of us with multiple different interests, so we can just have a channel with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Grimer's point, the average Pokemon investor isn't at Dan's experience or optimization. Most are buying on TCG Player plus tax, and then will sell on Facebook Marketplace for 90%. That's a thing I talk about all the time. Like the average investor in Pokemon isn't paying 100% of market. They're paying 110% of market because they don't even have a business registered. They're paying sales tax. It's kind of crazy what the average investor is subjecting themselves to. I was just talking about the advantages doing this above board the right way with a business, and it's the complete opposite. If you're not doing any of that, you're paying more. You're paying sales tax. It's wild. The amount of people I get emails daily. I buy from a lot of them, but some of them I don't buy from. Some of them have insanely warped perceptions of how this all works. I've gotten people that messaged me and said like, hey, I'm ready to cash out. They send me a $50,000 collector app list, and it's all like oddball and like it's decent stuff, but it's the kind of stuff you have to list and sell individually on eBay or TCG Player, and you got to package and ship it one by one, and they're trying to get 95% for this stuff. It's like, I can't sell that stuff on streams. Someone will pay you to take it all, but it's not going to be 90%. It's not going to be 95%. Maybe it'll be 70, maybe 70% if they find the right person. But I don't know.
I don't know. I bet in this market, I bet they could find someone. People, like you always see people at shows walking around with carriages, just picking. I don't know what they do with all these collection boxes. I hate those things. They're such a pain in the butt.
Spat says, say his name. Dan calling out Ponga like that. I've talked with Ponga. I was at his house a couple times. I'm like, I will buy this stuff, but he knows the operation we're running. And that's an important thing to mention. Packs or sealed cases to me. To me, the only thing I can sell it as a premium is packs. If it's a random collection box, but there's Probstein out there, consignments. There's a lot of different operations. Like Benji. Benji's probably going to pay a lot better percentage than I will on random sealed, the 4-pack collection boxes with a jumbo, random tins, random things like that. Maybe not. He's making face.
Yeah, he's at like 50%.
It would depend what it is. How like we have a whole like pricing guide that we use for ourselves, and it would really depend on what our liquidity situation is, and then also like what the product is in itself. And very
so don't
likely,
go to Benji either. Don't go to Benji either. He's making a lot of faces. He doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Most collector lists that I get are like Pokemon Center ETBs. They are doing crazy things in a lot of ways. I was like wrong about them. I was too bearish about them. The main reason I don't engage with them is because I can't click a couple of buttons and get a lot of them. You got to fight out with the bots. You got to get limit 2. It's a mess, but I can't buy PC ETBs at 90% and sell them on stream and make money. I pay 9% fees. I pay the streamer. That thing's going to sell for 70% of market if I try selling one. So I don't touch that stuff. I can't touch that stuff. I buy loose packs. I buy boxes. I buy ETBs, things like that.
That is interesting. It's interesting to me how your pack ripping does so good, but your auctions just don't. I don't get it. And the same is true with Ray. He kills it on pack ripping, but then auctions. I watched some of his auctions last night, and they were decent, but they weren't great. Whereas me, I do really, really well with auctions, and then pack ripping is decent. Some nights are better than others, but it's interesting how we're basically doing the same thing, but it's so different.
See, Nick, you scammer, you call me out for selling packs at retail. That's the only place I make money. I sell singles and slabs at 70% of market when I'm buying them at 75%. I lose money on those. You're here selling $2 promos for $25. You're here selling $5 singles for $10. It's like, so we have, and because of that, Nick probably pays stronger on this way. Nick probably pays stronger on singles and slabs than I do, because you can sell them for more of a premium. And I probably pay better on packs at times, depending on what my inventory, depending on what my cash flow is at the time. But
wow, throwing up a lot of butts in there. I don't know. Sounds like Dan isn't the way to go.
There's times that people message me and they say like, hey, Alex, Nostalgianomics is paying this much per pack. You say you're paying this much. Biggest thing I always say is like, how many packs is Alex buying? And I always tell people, it's like, yes, if someone else trusted is paying more than me, sell to them. Absolutely. Like I will tell you if I know somebody's paying more than me. But a lot of times it comes down to like volume, and I will buy any pack on my buy list. I will buy packs by the thousands. And I know some people that sell to me. They sell to Alex first until he's capped out, and then they sell the rest to me, or they hold and they wait. But it's all and some of it comes down to, some people don't want to do all that work. Some people don't want to spend an extra hour figuring out like, oh, well, I have to send these 3 sets to Alex and send these 2 sets to Nick and send these 4 sets to Dan and hold these 4 sets until Dan's next hot buy list comes out. It's like, I just want to put 20 different sets in one box and sell them all to Dan, because he's always buying all of them. Well, like, Nick, right now, are you buying like Shrouded Fable? Are you buying like, are you buying Rebel Clash?
No, I'm not. But I have a funny story about Rebel Clash after this.
I'm buying every set from XY base to current. Now, if you hit me and say, hey, Dan, I see your buy list is this for Rebel Clash, I have 10,000 packs, I'll probably pump the brakes on 10,000 packs. But generally speaking, I'm buying all sets from XY base to current at the rates published on my website. And for some people, that's the right path. And for some people, that's not. And I never get mad if people don't buy from me. I never get mad if people don't sell to me. I'm an option. Utilize it if you want to. Don't utilize it if you don't want to. Buy or buy, sell or don't sell, like whatever. It's all cool with me.
Yeah. It looks like Kiki really wants you to keep the auctions going too.
Yeah. There's a lot of savvy people who go into the live streams, and you can probably do well scooping some things at 60-70% of market on occasion. If you have another tab open, if you're quick with comps and like, and it's good for me too. It's good for me if those people are there, because if someone buys something at 60%, that means that they were the final bid, they were the high bidder. That means it didn't go for 55%, right? Like, I'm glad that person was there, because it would have went lower if they weren't. So
yeah, I think Kiki's beaten me a couple times in a few auctions now. If I remember too many, actually. That's why I know them. That's why I've seen the name too much.
Nick, what's your Rebel Clash story?
Maybe it was just an error, but we were at a card show last weekend, and someone wanted to sell a distributor case of Rebel Clash packs, which was kind of cool because I've never seen one of those before.
Is that the 500 packs case?
750.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And we looked on your website and it said NA for Rebel Clash.
It does break from time to time. I don't know why exactly, but I
Is it
I need to work on
pulling
it.
from TCG Player?
I'm using an import XML or something, and I know Grimer's in the chat, or he's been a little bit. There's a more clean way to pull them that I need to implement. I just haven't done it yet. Right now, looking at my buy list, every pack price is working, but occasionally, sometimes they break.
I'm pretty sure they break because the way it's getting the price is constant refresh. So at one point it refreshes too much that it just will break your link and kind of just say
TCG Player account like just blocks it basically.
Yeah,
for a bit.
it'll be like stop bot.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean the best thing for you to do. I mean, hey, you could do it for all of us. We'll just you should try and get us a API key.
There we go.
That would make it very easy. And if you do come across one, let me know.
Yeah, that's above my depth. I've heard the term, but I don't know exactly what an API is exactly.
It kind of just gives you it just lets you integrate it into other things, and I don't know. It's just it would make inventorying and doing everything so easy.
Like instead of scraping from the web page itself, you would actually be getting like the keys. You'd be going inside and getting the data more directly, as far as I understand it.
Yeah. It kind of just skips. It kind of puts you in a way, kind of like where you're in developer mode. You're in developer mode pretty much. So you don't have as many barriers as you would if you were as a customer.
Bierski says, and this is with respect to like selling singles on a live stream. It's a freaking riddle wrapped in an enigma. It makes no sense sometimes. He crushed on singles this morning. On a random Friday morning. Sometimes you'll have a great day, and it's the same way with packs. Even like packs, generally speaking, on our Fanatics live streams do really well, but sometimes Ponga will go live on a Thursday and he'll only sell 100 packs, and then other times on a Thursday he'll work or maybe it was a Sunday, he'll be up till 5 a.m. ripping 1,000 packs, same packs, priced the same percent of market, and sometimes people are just there for it. Sometimes they're not as much. Sometimes the same card, you'll sell it one day, a $5 promo will sell for 10, and then you sell it 2 weeks later and it doesn't get $1 bid or something. It can just be wild, the variance.
Yeah. So Dan, do you think if there was a functional right now, a bot that you could have sit down and just sell packs, would you have that bot do all the openings and Ponga and PK would just do singles auctions?
I think Ponga and PK put on a good show, and I think they give that personal touch that some amount of people want. So the bot would be streamer 3. I wouldn't let go of PK and Ponga, but I would measure their performance against the bot, and they would be on thin ice. They would be on thin ice. So you guys watch out. If the day that Roka comes out with pack ripping Roka, and they install into the BIOS, they install all the sheeshes, all the $1. The second that Roka comes out, I am buying one. And Ponga and PK, you're not fired, but you guys are on thin ice. You guys better you're gonna
they have a supervisor now.
The standard will be established and it will be set, and there will not be much slacking allowed. I saw actually on my recommended feed. I listened to some different content outside of the Pokemon sphere. I think I need to do better at that. But some sciencey type things. Veritasium is one of my favorite channels that I listen to every video they do. Boston Dynamics. Have you seen the robots that they're putting out lately? Doing cartwheels and stuff. It's like that got fed to my algorithm recently. It's like, holy crap. They're doing cartwheels. I think a cartwheel is harder to do than ripping a pack. So
I don't think so.
What? A cartwheel?
Well, put it this way. A cartwheel, there's so much room for error in that. For a pack, there's so these cards are going to come out with dents all over when they open this pack. It's like, yeah, the bot opened the pack, but how good did the cards come out of that pack?
I don't know, but don't they have robots doing like surgeries? So you'd think the precision is there.
Yeah, the robots probably already exist with the precision to do it, but that the cost would be definitely prohibitive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, speaking of cost, there was a question if you scroll up from Eric Drinks Water at 3:09 p.m.
You mean 2:09 p.m.?
Nick,
we're talking about the only time zone that matters, okay?
Appreciate you, Benji. I do need to scroll up and make sure I didn't miss any other ones, but I appreciate you catching me slacking. What percentage of flippers and dippers in the hobby would you say are not making money? The amount of people who don't even mention fees and stuff and their cost of goods sold, how long till they realize? If you guys want to go with that, I'll make sure we didn't lose any other questions.
High. I think it's high. I think it's a very high percentage. I would honestly, I feel like it's bold, but I would say 70%. And realistically, it's probably more than that are not making money. I think a lot of people are recycling money and don't realize that they're losing dollars, $100 here and there. So then they're just getting new money in the account that they didn't have before. And there's so much stuff around that they don't even realize how much money they actually have. because a lot of people aren't inventorying, a lot of people aren't tracking cost, their expenses, how much they're getting back and everything. So it's like some people won't track like their PSA sub, like how much that came out. Like they won't count that as a cost. That'll just be separate, and they'll count it as like, oh, well, I got this card graded, and it, like, say I paid 15 for it, and a PSA 10's 30, and I got the PSA 10, but I paid $15 grading. A lot of people don't count that $15 in grading.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, they need $0. They probably owe money afterwards. So I don't know. I think it's more. It happens more often than people think.
Yeah, I think you're. I initially thought 70% was way too high, but I can see it being roughly 1 in 2, like over 50%. Because yeah, all the back end work of keeping track of everything is so tedious, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who don't do that. Even myself back in the beginning, I would never do that. I had no idea what I was making, if I was making money on collections and all that. Even nowadays, it's I have a rough idea, but I couldn't tell you on collection A I made so much money. On collection B I lost money. It's on this year my bank account went up a little bit, so I made money. But yeah, I would agree. There are a lot of people who don't take that stuff into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely hard as well. Like, you definitely can't do it in the sense of like, I made this much from collection A, B, or C, because it's all selling at different times, and keeping a track of that to that precision point would be too insane.
Yeah.
I think, at least depending on how big a scale you are.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Nick used to show us how much he used to make, but he retired from
YouTube.
YouTube.
I remember those videos.
He started
I
making too much,
videos.
so he couldn't share it anymore. I think it's a high portion of people are just here as like a hobby, and I need to shout this out because it was a great watch. Somehow it only has 1,000 views 8 days later, but our friend Mason from CNA Games, he did a Gamma 2025 seminar. It was 3 total like LGS owners, and then it was someone from TCG Player asking like a panel discussion, and it was really good. I just dropped it in the comments. People should click on that, add it to their watch later.
Do you want to send me that in Discord?
Yeah, I can send it to you in Discord too, so you don't lose it.
That actually does sound something I would want to watch.
It was really good. I forget the guy's name, but there was one guy, and Mason did a great job too. But there was one guy that I'd not heard of before, Nick Koss of Card Titan. He had a couple of points that I linked in the comments, like I timestamped in the comments. He said, I quoted it in the comments so that I could refer back to it later. If you're spending 25 cents to pick up a dime to sell it for a dime, like, what are you doing? The amount of, like, TCG Player has implemented certain things to prevent people from working for free. The amount of people who just, like, they don't value their time at all. Like, hey, I've March Madness on over there. I'm watching the basketball game anyways. Why don't I just sort through some cards, pop them up on TCG Player, stuff a couple envelopes? Like, people are willing to work for almost nothing. They value their time almost nothing. A lot of people probably do without realizing it. Break even, barely, lose a little bit of money. And that's fine. Like, if you want to engage with that way, it's kind of fine. It is what it is, whatever. People can do what they want. But TCG Player has had to go through and instate like a minimum selling price. They've had to instate like a minimum shipping that you have to charge, because Pokemon has this weird thing where, like if you're running a pizzeria, all the pizzerias in your town that have been around for a while, they must be solvent. No one's doing that as just like a hobby. No one's doing that to just like, oh, hey, I just want to do this even if it's losing me money. One thing that Pokemon has, though, is like people will just do this for free. So you as a game store who needs to make money, who needs to pay your employees, who needs to like keep the lights on, pay your lease, you're competing with thousands of individuals who will just work for free. Yeah. And it's an interesting dynamic to be present in. It's a dynamic that I think a lot of other industries don't have. But yeah, I really like some of the insights that came out of that panel discussion with Mason and others on it. So that is linked there. Nick, do you remember what the TCG Player update was? I'm sure there's people in here that probably know better than I do, but I think they upped the minimum shipping fee, and I think they also upped you used to be able to sell cards for like a penny. Now isn't it like 5 cents or something? The new floor, or can you still go down to a penny?
I don't know about that. I know the shipping. Yes, I think you can still sell for a penny. I didn't hear about that.
Is the shipping not like still an option just through free shipping?
You can't do free shipping unless you're like a level 4 seller and unless it's above a certain value. Like there were so many sellers on TCG Player that were literally just making no money that TCG Player stepped in and forced certain minimum charges. They're like, I think they were getting so many complaints from like actual businesses. Like, how are we supposed to compete when there's thousands of sellers pricing things to make no money? And like TCG Player actually responded to that by instating certain minimum sales requirements, certain like you have to charge this much money at a minimum.
I think that's a good thing, because I do think there are a lot of people that, well, I know for a fact that there are people who, especially when they're first starting their accounts, they're selling at a loss on purpose. They're just trying to get to that level 4 status as fast as possible so that they can sell what they actually want to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I think it makes perfect sense, because the limits in the beginning are so stupid. Yeah. I was doing that when to get to level 4. Any purchase, someone could buy a 10-cent card, and it would be sent ground advantage just because it got there quicker and it had tracking.
Bring back bulk, Nick. That's all I'm saying.
I was gonna say I watched those Gamma TCG Player interviews, and it made me want to get a Roka and start doing something again.
Hey Nick, do you want a what is that, Magic Sorter?
No.
What? I got one for a good price.
You're not going to use it? You're going to get rid of it?
Yes. We do not have the bandwidth to deal with bulk at this moment in time.
It's a lot. It's a
tough game.
Yeah.
That's probably gonna that'll probably be how we train the first employee. That'll be their job.
Yeah.
Make them hate their lives first, and then we'll get them into the real job. We gotta break them, to build them back up.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one of these days it'll happen. I don't know. I would love to get back into singles, but there's just no time. It's not possible now.
Yeah, it definitely would be profitable done correctly, but you got to pick at some point. You got to limit the scope of what you're going to do. You got to limit the amount of hours you're going to put in. We're booming. There's a lot of ways to make money, but you can't chase all of them. You can't try to chase every penny, because you will just not enough time in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mega Evo Mart mentioned they raised minimum shipping from 99 cents to $1.29. We got Brandon saying it doesn't matter if they're doing it for free at a loss, because new people are coming in who are fill their shoes once they fall out.
Yeah.
And some people too, like even if they're like losing money, they're clawing back some of the cards that they're not using anyway. So they're not seeing it as like they have to make money inherently. They're just subsidizing the cost of their consumption, basically.
Yeah.
Some amount of them.
I think based on the point that we just talked about, I think Nico was talking about how some people at Collecticon will buy out a table at 10K and then sell it for 10,050 and doing that 4 or 5 times in a day. That seems like it's never worth it to me, at least.
There are not advice of any kind, but there are alternative things at play. Certain times with conventions, certain amount of cash transactions have benefits, and there's definitely other things sometimes going on when people sell for a lot of cash at a break-even price. That I do. Like if they're doing it literally cash for that and then getting cash again, it's like, well, they're just recycling cash. Oh God!
I don't know.
This is
I did see that one right after. God. Man, that's a hard one. Well, I don't know. There's nuance to that too, because it's like, well, do we have to know in the Pokemon universe that they make milk?
I didn't want to be the first one to speak, because I felt like whoever was the first one to speak was gonna make a very clippable moment. Oh God!
It's a fair question. The only one we know is Miltank.
Can
Like,
you milk
definitively.
me, Greg? Can you milk me, Greg? Oh God!
I don't know. How about you give us options and then we'll figure it
This
out from
was the answer I
there.
was waiting for. I'm not sure that's milk. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's a different kind of milk.
Oh God! On to the next one. On to the next one. Oh God!
We've entertained it. We've entertained it.
This is one that I'd missed, but I actually started. Sorry, Nico, that I missed it. In your opinion, minimum starting capital if you want to open an LGS, as someone who just did it. How many millions are we talking?
How many millions?
Jinx is wild, by the way, by Zach. I feel like that number changes based on where you're opening your LGS. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
rent
definitely.
costs are very different. Insurance is different. I don't know. Like minimum, like very bare minimum. I don't know. I would say maybe like if you were like starting like just having a place and like throwing in a little of your color, I don't know, maybe like 10K realistically, like at like the absolute like bare bones minimum. I think you could start an LGS at 10K and then it would be a very slow build, but I think it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go under? Very likely, but it's possible at 10K, I think.
These Wiglet. Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were wilding out there for a minute. I missed some of these comments that I highlighted. TCG player announcement: maximize your gains with our piping pack ripping robot. Mr. Water says, imagine a robot. Beep boop, you got wrecked. That's hilarious. Oh God. Did you play TCG Simulator, Benji? At all?
But I watched Mason play hours of it, so I'm very acquainted.
I mean, it's basically the same thing, right? That's like 100% accurate.
No, I mean the only thing that's not accurate is the fact that when you open packs, you make money.
Oh, you don't make money? I thought. I mean, yeah, you just buy.
I mean, ask me and my coworker when we just opened. I opened like 8 prismatic packs, and he opened like. I think he opened in total like 12 Fusion Strike and like 8 Twilight Masquerade. And then we opened a couple Lost Origin, and between all of those, we got. Oh, and I opened an Evolving Skies, and we got 0 hits.
Ow, that hurt.
In TCG Simulator, and that many packs, I would have made like $300.
Man, unrealistic standards in that game. Here's one from Tyrone. We are at 3:30. We've been going for a little bit over 2 hours. We're definitely going to hard cap it by 3:45. So another 10, 15 minutes tops, potentially ending sooner than that. If you have a final question, get it in there quick. Tyrone wants to know, how do y'all approach eBay offers? Is your minimum offer often what you accept, or do you try to just go under asking and hold from there? I don't do offers. I do buy it now firm. That's it. I do a discount if you buy multiple items. If you buy 3 items, you save X amount of dollars. But that's my strategy. Too much time. It's not worth it for me personally.
I'll do offers on pretty much everything, and yeah, I don't have a minimum offer, so you can send whatever offer, and then usually I have some percentage that'll counter at.
Everyone get your 5 eBay accounts, start spamming OldSkoolPokemon for offers.
Go click the affiliate link below. Send an offer for $1 on every single card.
No, I will always be that way. I've always hated people who auto decline offers. I've never liked the idea of that. So if I send an offer and it gets auto declined, unless it's something that I really, really want, 9 times out of 10, I'll just move on. So I would recommend not doing that.
And I know a lot of people allow their offers just because it increases engagement for the listing, I think, and then that helps them.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick, I think you just called out a bunch of people in this chat. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's it. We have every question answered, so we're gonna call it there. If you guys want to just do a little bit of a reminder on where people can find you, what do you got going on for the weekend? Nick, I'm sure you're live tonight. I'm gonna do a little bit of a pump on mine at the end too. What do you guys got going on?
Go ahead, Nick, you first.
Oh, so I got a Poke Night on eBay Live. I'll be live at 6 p.m. Eastern until we'll see what time we end. The first night went till 4 a.m. Last week went till 3:30. So hopefully we can have a nice long stream again. And then tomorrow, for anyone local to Chicago, we'll be vending at the Game Changer show in Juliet tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Hopefully be able to buy a whole bunch there. And then I'll be live again Saturday night. And then Sunday gets to take off. I am so looking forward to that.
Nice.
And for me, I mean, if you're coming down in the Massachusetts area, come down to 9 North Main Street in Attleboro. We'll have a lot of Pokemon cards. Journey Together is coming out next week. We got pre-release this weekend. And then follow our Instagram. And for when we do go online, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that a lot of people want. So you wouldn't want to miss the first time that we do go live with our inventory online.
Shortly after this stream ends, I'm heading towards PK. Him and I are breaking this tomorrow on Fanatics. First edition fossil box, all 36 packs, $1 auction. We're going to rip the heavies live, hollow guarantee. We're going to ship the lights sealed. Lots of slabs, lots of singles, lots of stuff going on there. Affiliate link for Fanatics, $25. Code Ketchum20. Come get your free, heavily subsidized cards. Hang out. It'll be a good time. But yeah. As
Can't
always,
believe you didn't say $1 the way you're supposed to.
Yeah,
I can't do it. Yeah, I'm not the streaming guy. I'm just the sourcing guy. I can't do it.
We could tell when you're on stream with Ponga. Don't worry.
I'm the assistant. PK will hopefully be in the captain's chair the whole way. I'm just trying to help him. I'm just the guy clicking the buttons, sourcing the items. But yeah, thanks chat for being here. Thanks, Benji, for coming on. Cool to get insight from someone doing things in the real world, not just behind a computer screen, actually interfacing with customers, brick and mortar setup. So hope that goes well for you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Benji. And thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. It was a good
Have a
chat.
great weekend. We will catch you all later.